Om Namo Venkatesaya. Shuklambaradharam Vishnum Shasivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavathanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashanteye Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya Vyasa Rupaya Vishnave Namo Vai Brahmanideye Vasishtaya Namo Namaha. Tismarana Matrena Janma Samsara Bandhanat Vimuchate Namastasmi Vishnave Prabha Vishnave Lakshmi Nata Samarambam Nate Amana Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Partaya Pradibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshiniim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvamanusandatami Bhagavad Gite Bhavadveshinim Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om Namo Venkatesaya. I pronounce everybody. So we have been revising the Bhagavad Gita. So we did up to chapter 6 yesterday. So let's move on to chapter 7. Chana Vijnana Yoga. Bhagavan starts the chapter 7 saying that, Maya Sakta Manaparta Partha Yogam Yujjan Madashreha Ashamsayam Samagramam Yada Nyasasi Tachnun. That means on his own. Suvamoto Bhagavan says that since you have been following this, people who have been following this path of Dhyana Yoga, and also they have got their mind attached to me, and therefore I'm going to talk about the knowledge about myself completely, which you wanted to learn, which you wanted to know. That's what Bhagavan says in the sloka 1. The second sloka, he says, I'm going to talk to you about Jnanam and Vijnanam. Jnanam teham savijnanam idam vacham aseshataha. I'm going to talk to you about Jnana and Vijnana without leaving anything behind, completely. So completely I'm going to talk to you. Yajñatva nehan bhuyonete jnatavyam avasishyate. That means having known this knowledge, there is nothing else that you need to know in this world. So that is the complete knowledge each one of us should know. Having known that, there is nothing else you need to know. So Jnanam is about the Bhagavan's nature. Vijnanam is the means of reaching it, as well as the Anubhavam. We all know that Bhagavan resides in all places, but then we have got to bring that into our Anubhuti. That means just as we get up in the morning, nobody needs to tell us that I'm so and so. That the knowledge is already there. It is ingrained into us. Similarly, that knowledge of Bhagavan is inside us, must be ingrained into all of us, so that we don't have to make special effort of knowing. That is what is Vijnanam or Anubhav. That's what it is. So I'm going to talk to you both about Jnanam and Vijnanam. That's what Bhagavan says. Again, he says this is not so easy knowledge, because Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschit Yatati Sitte. That means only 1 in 1,000. 1 in 1,000 means 0.1%, not even 1%. 1/10 of 1%. That is 0.1% of the people only progress towards the spiritual, attainment. And even among the people who progress on the spiritual attainment, only very few know me completely. Yatatamapi siddhanam kachin mamviti tatvata. That means they know the true nature of me. Only very, very few people, even the people who follow the path of the spiritual, progress. So that's why later on Bhagavan, says, Mam tu veda na kaschana. That means nobody in this world knows me. That's what Bhagavan says. Then he talks about his lower nature. Bhumirapo nalo vayuhu kammano buddhirevacha ahamkara itiyame bhinna prakriti rashtata. That means the lower nature is the Panchabhutas, Manaha, Buddhi and Ahamkara. These are the 8 lower natures of Bhagavan. Apareyam itastvanam prakritim vidhi me param jiva bhutam mahabaho yeyedam dharyate jagat. That means apart from this lower nature, the higher nature is the Jivatma, Jiva Bhutam. Because of the Jivatma, the entire world is sustained. Because of the consciousness only, the whole world is sustained, and therefore that is my higher nature. That's what he said. That is prakriti vidhi me param. That means the higher nature is the Jivatma. Etad yonini bhutani sarvani tupadhari aham krishnasya jagatah prabhu. That means the entire universe we created of this, the Chaitanya. That is this inert matter as well as this consciousness. These are the two things which combine to form this entire universe. And then all this entire universe is being created by me at the beginning, and then ultimately they come into me at the time of Pralaya. So Ham Krishnasya Jagata. That means for the complete universe, I am the Prabhava, that I am the creator, as well as I am the annihilator. Pralayastata. That's what Bhagavan says. Beautiful sloka number 7. Matta parataram nanyati kinchitasti dhananjaya mai sarvam idam protam sutre manigana. That means there is nothing beyond me. Bhagavan is declaring that he is the ultimate supreme God. So that's what, in this Vishnu Sahasranamam, we had this Yudhishthira asking this, Kimekam Devatam Loke, the first question. Who is the supreme God of this universe? Bhagavan has already answered it in, this Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is prior to this Vishnu Sahasranam, and therefore Bhishma Pitamar is explaining that Mahavishnu is the supreme God. That's what. Devatam Devatanam cha. That's what he's saying in Vishnu Sahasranam. Similarly, Bhagavan is declaring, Matta Parataram Nanyati Kinchidas. That means I am the supreme commander. Of course, Bhagavan is not declaring on his own, because the Vedas also say that. Vedas also say that Narayana Parabrahma Tattvam Narayana Para. So Narayana is the that is the Paramatma, and therefore Bhagavan says, there is nobody beyond me. That is, he is the ultimate supreme God. Kinchidasti Dhananjaya. Not even the slightest thing exists beyond me. Mayi Sarvam, the second line is also important. Mayi Sarvam Idam Protam Sutre Manigan. That means the entire universe is, is joined together in this universe like that, this necklace made up of the gems. Money is these gems. Like the thread. The thread is the one which is uniting all these, the gems may be of different shapes, different colors, and different, this rupas. But then all of them are joined together with one string or one sutra. That is this, the rope, the what you call the thread. And that thread is me, because the Bhagavan is the one unifying factor in all the things. That means he's present everywhere, and therefore in him only everything exists. Just as we saw, in the Advaita principle of this, when there is a rope is the Brahman. On the rope, you see, when there is light, when there is darkness, you see it as a snake. So the support which gives is the snake and the rope, but then you see it's something different as the snake. So like that, the whole universe is being joined together or united together by Bhagavan, who is the thread which runs across, uniform thread that's across the entire universe. And then on him is wound all this, this various, this jivatmas, all this inert matters, all this rupa and form are wound around him. That's what he said. Mayi sarvam idam protam sutre manigana. Then Bhagavan is talking about what are the things is there. Rasoyam apsakavanteya prabhasmi sasi suryaho pranava sarva vedeshu shabdake portion. That means among the in the water I am the taste. Among in the sun and the moon I am the light. In the sun and the moon the shine. Then in the entire Vedas I am the pranava swarupam. And then in this what you call the sky I am the sound. So the sound is the tanmatra. So all those things Bhagavan is talking. So let's pass on to all those things, because he's again going to talk about it in chapter 10. All this balam balavatam, that means I am the strength in the the strength of the people. Again, dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi. That means among all the jivatmas, the desires as unopposed to dharma know that desire also to be me. That's what it is. Then ye cheva satvika bhava rajasas tamasha matte evati tan vidhi nattvaham teshu temai. That means all of them are in me, I am not in them. That means that is, they need my support. Without me, nothing can exist, but I don't live, I'm not in that. That means if they undergo any changes, that doesn't affect me at all. So we gave the example of the various cells living in this body. Whatever happens to cell, I am not affected by that. So Bhagavan says everything is residing in me, but I'm not residing in them. That's what Bhagavan is talking about. Then he talked about the Maya. Tribir Gunamayir Bhavehi, Yebi Sarvam Idam Jagati, Mohitam Nabi Janati, Mahamepe. That means the whole world is deluded by this Triguna Rupa Maya, that is the Sattva Rajas Tamas. And then having deluded by that, nobody, that is, they don't know me at all. That's what Bhagavan says, because of the Maya. The 14th sloka, again, most important sloka. Daivi Kesha Gunamayi, Mama Maya Duratiya, Mameva Ye Prapadyante, Maya Metam Taran. That means this Maya, which is made up of, this Trigunas, that is Sattva Rajas Tamas. Maya also, we saw another definition given by Bhagavan in Srimad Bhagavatam, that is, which projects something which is non-existence as existing, and then which is existing as non-existing. That is what we gave the example of this, this Abhasaha and then this Tamaha. Abhasaha is the virtual image you see in the mirror. It looks as if it is real, but it is not real. Similarly, when in the darkness, the things are existing, but you don't see, because of the darkness covers them, therefore you see nothing exists in the darkness. So that is what is Maya. And therefore, Bhagavan, what is the solution for that? Mameva ye prapadyante maya metam. That means one who has completely surrendered to me alone. And Bhagavan is saying, Bhagavan himself says, Mama Maya Duratya. It's very, very difficult to cross over. Bhagavan himself says it's difficult to cross over. We can understand. It is such a, we can understand, we'll be finding it very, very difficult to cross over this Maya. And therefore, the solution is to surrender unto him. Mameva ye prapadyante maya metam. Then we talk about the Sharanagati, the 5 angas of Sharanagati, Karpanyam, Drida Viswasam, then this Goptra then Anukulasya Sankalpam, Pratikulasya Varjanam. These are the 5 angas, the limbs of this Sharanagati. We saw that also. Then all these people cannot know me at all. Who are these people? Dushkritina, people are evildoers. Mudaha, who doesn't have any knowledge, unwise people. Then Naradamaha, that is the people, the lowest among the Sadamas. That means people who want to inflict pain on others and get joy out of that, those are all called Naradamas. Mayaya Apakarta Jnanaha, that means they have got, their knowledge has been completely stolen away by this Maya. Asuram Bhava, that means they have got these Asuric tendencies, demonic tendencies are there. Those kind of people will never surrender to me. Na prapadyante, that's what Bhagavan says. So next he moved on to the 4 types of bhaktas. Chaturvida bhajante mam jana sukrutino arjuna artho jignasu arthati jnani cha bharata. There are 4 types of devotees. Who are the 4 types of devotees? Artha, people who are in problems. Jignasu, people who want to have more and more knowledge on these things. Artharthi, people who want wealth. Jnani, one is already attained that the supreme knowledge, and therefore he is residing in that Jivatma Swarupa, but he is also my bhakta. So these are the 4 types of bhakta. That's what Bhagavan says. And all these people are sukridana. That means people have done good deeds. Then only they can become my bhaktas. Then among these various 4 types of bhakta, he says jnani is the greatest one. Tesham jnani nityuktaha ekabhaktir visishyate priyo hi jnanino ityartam aham sacha mama priya. That means he's ever united in me, and therefore he is very dear to me, and I am dear to him. So it is mutually, mutual love between the God and the bhakta. That's what jnani, and therefore that's what he's saying. Jnani is the great among the 4 devotees. Jnani is great. That's what he's saying. Then he said, Udara sarva yeveti jnani to atmaiva mematam ashita sati yuktatma mameva uttamam gati. That means all these 4 types of devotees are very benevolent. Bhagavan is glorifying all these devotees because he is benevolent, but then he is calling his bhaktas benevolent because they are giving me an opportunity to help to solve their problems. That's what Bhagavan is making them, call them as Udara. They are all benevolent people, all these 4 types of benevolent people. But out of that, Jnani, of course, he says, Jnani is like the core of me. He is my Atma. All of us consider Paramatma to be our core, but then Bhagavan says, the Jnani is my core. So in fact, in Bhagavatam, he says, Aham Bhakta Paradina. So I am under the control of my devotees. That's what Bhagavan says. So he is my inner core. That's what. So Atmaiva Mematam Astita Sahi Yuktatma. Ultimately, since he is always residing in me, ultimately he reaches my own abode. That's what it is saying. Then what will be the vision of that Jnani? That's what he's talking in the 19th sloka. Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Man Prapad. That means after many births, millions of births, slowly he gets into this knowledge, and because of that knowledge, he surrenders to me. Jnanavan Mam Prapadyati. He surrendered to me. Vasudeva Sarvaitam. That means he is looking at everything in this universe. Bhagavan said, no, I am the one unifying force this entire universe. In the 7th sloka, the Jnani is able to visualize, and he has this vision. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. He is seeing everything as Vasudeva. In fact, we saw that in the 7th chapter also. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, Brahmane Gavihastini, Panditaha Sunichaiva Supakesha, Panditaha Samadarshina. The person who has got the declaration is able to see Bhagavan everything, including the dog eater, even the most inner he sees as Bhagavan because he is seeing the inner core. The person who is residing inside is only Bhagavan. So that is a common unifying factor. So he is seeing everything as Vasudeva. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma. That kind of a person is very, very difficult to get. That's what Bhagavan says. So then we move on to a different topic. Some people want to have different types of desires, so they approach the Anya Devatas. Anya Devatas mean like Indra, Varuna, so many other gods which are able to fulfill their desires. So they surrender to those kind of gods. But then following their own, the niyamas, that means the kind of the worship procedures which are supposed to be followed, they follow that. But then he says, I am the person. They want to worship him with Shraddha, that means with faith. I am the person who is, making the Shraddha very firm. Tasya achalam shraddham tameva vidam. I'm the person who is making the shraddha very, very, deep rooted and then very firm. That's what Bhagavan says. Then he says the person who is worshipping these various gods, sataya shraddhaya yuktaha tasya radhana mihate lapatecha tatakam. So once he does this various worship, he is able to get whatever desires he has got. His desires are getting fulfilled. But please understand, all these desires are getting fulfilled by me only through these various demigods. That's what he says. I am the person who is the supreme person. I am fulfilling the desires through this demigod. That's what it is. So he's mentioning that he is the supreme God. So even if the person approaches the various steps, like we saw that Akashat Patitam Toyam Medagachati Sagaram Sarvadeva Namaskara Kesavam Prati. That means any water that falls from the sky ultimately reaches the this Sagaram, that is the ocean. Similarly, all the bhaktas with the worship that you do to different gods, Sarvadeva Namaskara, Kesavam Pratikach, ultimately goes to Bhagavan as such. So then, all these fruits that these people get from these various gods are only alpam. That means very temporary. They are not permanent natures. And once they worship these various gods, they go to the various the Devata lokas at the time after the death. A person who worships Indra goes to the Swargalokam. A person who worships, this Pitrus, they go to Pitraloka. Chandra, who worships Chandra, goes to Chandraloka. So different lokas. Mad Bhakta Yanti Mad. So people who is worshipping Bhagavan, ultimately reaches the him only, and which is the loka which nacha punaravardhana. That means there is no question of coming back from that loka. Other than that, all other lokas, people will have to come back to this universe itself. So after the fulfillment of that, where is that this punya karma? Once we are going to talk about it in the seventh chapter also about the same thing. Avyaktam vyaktam apannam manyate mam bhuteha parambhavam ajanata mam avyam anutam. That means people just see me in this physical body who am contained in the 6 feet or something like that. But I am beyond all those things. I am the people, the Buddha. That means people who don't have this knowledge, they don't see me, my inner nature, and they get deluded by that. That's what Bhagavan says. And because the Maya is the one which is covering them, I'm inside of each one of them. But then I'm being covered by this thick coat of Maya. And therefore, because the Maya is completely covering them, they are not able to see me who is residing. I'm Naha Prakash. That means I'm not getting, the shine in me is not being visible to all of them because they have got a Yoga Maya Samavat. That means the Maya, there's a thick coat of Maya which is covering my light inside them. And therefore, Mudoyam Nabi Janati Loko Mamat. That means they don't see my true nature. That's what Bhagavan says, 25th sloka. So then Bhagavan is very sad that I know all the people's past, present, and future, but unfortunately nobody knows me. Mam tu vedana kaschana. Nobody knows me, my true nature. Why? Because ichadvesha samuttena dvandamohena bharat. That means they are getting covered because of that ragadvesha. That means the craving as well as the hatred, as well as the dvandamoha. That means the pairs of opposite. They get deluded by the pairs of opposite. The pairs of opposite are only limited to this physical body, mind, and the intellect. I am beyond that, and therefore people, because they get attached to this the physical body and mind and intellect, they don't see this happens right from the birth. Sarva bhutani sammoham sarge. That means right from the birth they are getting to this dvanda moham as well as the ichadvesham, and that's what Bhagavan says. Is there a solution for that? Yes, Bhagavan says yesham tvantagatam pabam janana punya. Once you start doing the punya karmas, all this dvanta moham and all this this hatred and then love, the hatred and craving will completely slowly vanish. Then after getting relieved of that, Bhajante Mam, then they start worshipping me with complete faith, with firm conviction. Then the 29th and 30th sloka, Jara Marana Mochaya, Mam Ashate Yatantite, Te Brahma Tadvidhu, Krishnam Adhyatmam Karma Chakalam. That means a person who is depending on me and then who has resigned himself to me and making efforts, that person will, for the sake of getting relieved from this Jara and Moksha, Jara Maran. Jara is for this physical body, Maranam is also for this body. Getting relieved from this samsara chakra, they finally understand what is Brahman, that is Bhagavan, what is the Jivatma, Adhyatma, what is Jivatma, Karmacha Akilam. That means all this, the play field, that is this entire universe. The entire universe is completely known by the three things are completely known by them as something different, and therefore they get the true knowledge of this Paramatma, the Jivatma, as well as this universe. And last sloka, Sadi Bhutadi Sadi Devam Mam Sadi Yagyam Cha Yeviduhu Prayana Kale Pichamam Te Viduhu Yukta Chetasaha. That means that I am beyond this Adi Bhutam. Bhutam means this Panchabhutas as well as the entire thing in the universe which is created of this Panchabhutas. So I am beyond that Adi Bhutam. Adi means beyond. So I am a person who is beyond this Panchabhutas. I am the person beyond the very Devata. Devatas are this, this various Indra, Varuna, Yama, Brahma, all these things. I am beyond all this. Sadi Devam, Sadi Yagyam. I am the person who is the inner core, who is being worshipped, and then I am beyond this Yajna also. The Yajna also refers to the various actions. I am beyond these various actions. Sadi Yagyam, who knows me as that person, even at the time of his death. At the time of death, when will be very difficult for a person to remember Bhagavan, because he will be thinking about only what are the things that are most crucial for him. But then, since he knows that I am the person who is beyond all these things, I am the most important person. So even at the time of death, even at the time of death, he will think about me, because he is always ever united with me. So since he is ever united with me, he will always think about me, and therefore even at the time of death, he will think about me. That's what Bhagavan says. With this, we complete the chapter 7. From tomorrow onwards, we'll start taking the chapter 8, which is the Akshara Brahma Yoga. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanura Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagaturum. Om Namo Venkatesaya. Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Krishna Krishna Krishna.